you doing in my house? A space opera. Hello there, people, and welcome back to Star Wars. Star Wars. A thing which we've been doing for quite a while now, last few months, and make ourselves pretty miserable with, because we've done a lot of platformers. Platformer after platformer, adventure after adventure, as we try and save scum our way to victory. And now we have made it to something entirely different! Star Wars X-Wing. Made in 1993, it basically issued in a whole new era of Star Wars. Besides Star Wars droids, which is horrible and therefore nobody cares about whatsoever, this is the first Star Wars game out there to have its own story. I mean, I guess not officially, because in a way, the other ones kind of like took their own creative licenses with the Star Wars story, but the basics were there. Yeah. So, needless to say, it's a bit different here. Stop that. Bit of pain. Had to deal with the pain. Okay, so let's see here. The problem with Star Wars and whatnot, like I said up to this point, was always the fact that it was always doing something that was predictable. Part of the story. And now we're getting to the era of Star Wars games whereby they went beyond the story and started doing their own stories, because now we're getting to more cinematic things. It's the 90s now, people. In the 90s, now you have the capabilities to tell stories of games. Now, amazing thing, you couldn't really do much in the 80s. Well, beyond, like, some things in, like, the arcades, I guess, but that's not really a story. Yeah, the 80s was really kind of bad with stories. You know, really in the 80s, it was kind of like not really expected for games to have stories. And honestly, even for 93, that's actually pretty surprising, I guess. I guess it's because it's not an FPS game. If it was an FPS game, you wouldn't really have a story. But because it's not, yeah, we have story here, people. A story involving an X-Wing against the world, apparently. Yeah, apparently it's like an FPS, but in space! With a ship! That's a flight simulator. And of course that means I'm going to die a lot! Why? Because I am possibly the worst player ever at flight sims. Yeah, there's really no way around it. I'm pretty much as bad as you could get with this type of thing. I have no idea how in God's name I'm going to handle this at all. I don't know any of the controls, I don't know what I'm doing, and this is going to be terrible, therefore, yeah. So I'm playing the original 1993 floppy version, to make it as legit as possible. And yeah, this is the first flight simulator I've done in a very long time. So needless to say, even worse, because I've never actually completed a training session for a flight simulator, nevertheless being a game for it. And I had to save scum my way through platformers. So how are we going to do on a freaking genre that I've never really messed with before, and I'm known to be pretty terrible at? Well, I guess that's what we're going to find out, aren't we? We gotta figure out how to handle this thing. And like I said, it's really the first big Star Wars story-based game. So yeah, needless to say, it stands out. It came out, it's really one of the first PC games of Star Wars, actually. Besides Star Wars Droids. Star Wars Droids is really the exception to everything, but Star Wars Droids is so terrible that nobody even remembers it exists. I mean, really, Star Wars Droids was nothing more than a bunch of maze-like fours of press games assignments. So, needless to say, it was pretty unnotable. And therefore, people kind of consider this to be, like, the true beginning of, like, Star Wars stuff. Unless you're a big fan of Super Star Wars. But beyond that, this is really the big era of Star Wars games. When they started getting big again, people started getting the whole craze for them. And we had a lot of, well, stuff coming out. So yeah, X-Wing. Let's do this thing. And kamikaze a lot. Oh boy. I like Jetson. I like Jetson. Okay, LucasArts. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars! And also I can pause the menu at any time. As you see, the menu sound is on. Transition shown, spoken text in. Excuse me. Okay, so yeah, everything is basically set up the way I want it. Okay. Star Wars! It's a time of civil war! Using fear and intimidation, the Empire seeks to impose a new order on the galaxy! Only the Rebel Alliance stands in the way of their evil plans. Not yet willing to confront the Empire directly, the rebels are being absolute cowards and hiding behind the hidden wall by marshaling their forces in secrecy, even though a group of the prize calamari cruisers is being intercepted by a squadron of Imperial Star Destroyers. But we're not a calamari cruiser now, are we? Because the rebel fleet is outnumbered, but they have a surprise! The X-Wing Starfighter! Oh, I thought you were going to say the Z-95s. Wait, would it not be that big of a surprise because they did use the Z-95s before? I guess this is the introduction of when X-Wings started being used. Oh look! Star Destroyer patrol near the planet Turkana. Okay. Turkana, you're doomed! Look at that. Spaceships everywhere! What an amazing space opera! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Wait, why do they have TIE interceptors? That's why he hasn't even been introduced yet. They have TIE interceptors.
Our TIE interceptors have located a rebel fleet orbiting the planet Turkana.
Excellent. Prepare the attack. Move our Star Destroyers within range and launch all TIE Fighter squadrons.
At once, sir.
Okay, why are TIE interceptors being used early? I thought they were used around Return of the Jedi only. That's why I didn't have them for its Death Star. But whatever. I'm going with this weird plot. Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, people. I'm already confused. The plot doesn't make sense! I can't play this game if the plot doesn't make sense! I've read all these Star Wars role-playing game books and it doesn't make any sense! Wait, how did the TIE Interceptors able to destroy the ship? I'm more the Rebel flagship Independence, okay. TIE Interceptors really kick butt, apparently. Like, a lot more than they probably should.
Begin evasive maneuvers. Launch the X-Wing fighter.
I couldn't even hear a word he said over the music. I don't even know what's going on. Oh look! R2-D2. When they're introduced to the X-Wing, I'm very confused where this is supposed to take place. Like, I think I missed that part of the plot. I thought this was supposed to be like the first time X-Wings were used. You know, the music is way too loud. Yo, let's actually turn the music down because the music is way too loud. Seriously, I can't hear a single word they're saying. Okay. Oh my god, space stuff. I need to turn it down even more. Let's see here. Let's really turn it down to the lowest volume. I can't understand it. It's so DOS-based. I can't understand what people are saying, people. Yeah. I can't understand the word they're saying. The sound quality is so weak. Oh my god, it's a giant floating giant bots thing! Oh my god! What is going on? I don't know, there's a flying bots thing. It's called X-Wing. It just... Oh my god. Oh my god, it's X-Wing. Oh my god, there are crates now! We've already made it to the crates, people! And we get to hear the Star Wars theme again, which is so soft I can barely hear it. Now I need to turn it up so I can actually hear it. Okay, I guess that's a good compromise. Okay. So we get to see some credits before we play the game. Because reasons. Yeah! This is my first experience of the game, people! Sit and watch some cutscenes and then see some credits! best gameplay ever! I don't have to do a single thing! What an amazing thing! I literally just watched a movie whereby I wasn't told a single thing! I was told something about Tabana, I think? I forget the name of the planet already. Yeah, there's so many Star Wars planets to the point that I don't even remember what planet we're on. We didn't even see the surface of the planet. They said something about, that being where the X-Wing started, but I'm not really sure that's where they started. Like I said, it doesn't really make much sense with this freaking TIE interceptors. That doesn't make any sense. The TIE interceptor was designed, according to the Star Wars RPG, which was created a lot earlier than this, it was designed specifically to combat the X-Wing. It was basically an improvement on it. It basically was the thing to match and maybe even beat the X-Wing. So, basically what they're saying is that with this, why would they use it in the Battle of the Death Star? Yeah, the plot doesn't really make much sense here, people. I'm really confused. I kind of like the idea that the TIE Interceptor was introduced late into the war. It was kind of like a last-minute improvement based on Darth Vader's special TIE fighter or whatever. Special thanks to George Lucas! So, are we going to be playing the game soon? I would like to do that. Oh my god, it's copy protection! Well, I was warned about this, but the problem is if I try and get out of the game in order to look at it, I'm probably going to have OBS crash on me. So, needless to say, this is probably going to be the end of the first part. Thank you very much for watching a completely pointless playthrough where I did absolutely nothing! Except, well, listen to some music. And, that's about it. Yeah, I don't know what you really expected from me. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Like, it's copy protection, yes, but I don't really know what I'm doing here. Wait, I could press the keyboard button instead of jumping from side to side. How does one even stop it? How does one even stop these? I don't know what I'm doing. Press to continue? See manual, page 8. Okay, I see. So yeah, we have copy protection, and I forgot to put up the manual thing. So yeah, needless to say, I'm going to need to put up the manual. You guys are going to have to deal with me having this be at the end of the first part. Sorry, people! Anyway, I'll see you when I get back. Hooray! I didn't crash! What a miracle. Yeah. Needless to say, this is a miracle of unknown levels, people. I didn't exactly expect this to happen. Now you see, I have no plans whatsoever. I don't know what I'm doing. But, yeah. I'll pretend I do. Do you guys want to know about space? I can tell you a lot of adventures about that guy who's just kind of standing there awkwardly with his gun angled off to the side. He's just kind of standing there dutifully. He's bored out of his mind, maybe because I'm just rambling about nothingness. And there's a droid above there who, doesn't want... He means business, people. He refuses to be swayed by my talking voice. No, the only thing he'll be settled by is getting this copy protection right. What a complex thing this is. I'm terrified, people. I'm terrified, absolutely terrified, people. Dear God. Dear God, people. Oh, God. What am I supposed to do now? Maybe now I am supposed to pretend I don't know what I'm doing! Yeah. That feels pretty good. I don't know what I'm doing, people. What am I doing with my life? I thought I would just pretend that I had some idea what I was doing, but yeah, I'm kind of really confused. So, okay. I'm pulling up a guide so we can hopefully get somewhere with this. Let's see here. we have this guide thing. Does this actually tell me anything? Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, lots of text. Lots of thanking people, blah, blah, blah. You're not really helping me out here, dude. Yeah, Bucky, forget 3D images for book. Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah, let's see here. There's a lot of words. So yeah, we're going to be basically playing through the eyes of Kay and Farlander, a recent Alliance recruit, apparently. Okie dokie. Good to know. Yeah. Let us see. Yeah, let's see. Lots of words that I don't really care about. There's a freaking fly on my screen. Die! I killed the fly, hopefully. It's dead now. It's now bleeding. It will never return to its families. I just hit my speaker thing. My speaker thing's down on the ground. It's the last vengeance of the fly, people. It was against me from the beginning. Okay, Farlander's story. There was no trial. Just a blaring voice of Imperial Agent Commander reading a sentence. People of Todanta on the planet Agamar, the higher sectors have found guilty of sedition and plotted against the great Emperor Palpatine and the mighty Empire. The sentence will be executed without delay. Then the immediate Doppler whine of concussion missiles fired from orbit. Their blast of their detonation, the ground shaking in staccato convulsions. Finally, the heavy blast of fire rippling through roofs, burning our friends and families. Well, this is a happy story. I love it. I try not to think about the day my town was obliterated, the day everything I believed about humanity and the way things worked was turned upside down, the day my family died and I became, in heart and spirit, a rebel. I do my best to forget, but I know I never will. Were my parents truly rebel collaborators? Was anybody in our small backwater town guilty of the crimes we were accused for? Punished for? I know I wasn't. Not yet, anyway. I was on my way back from China Moon, which I've never heard of, at what we used to talk the big city. I just run an errand for my father, and was taking a short detour through a small forest of binka trees. I like to use the trees as obstacles. I push my T-16 Skyhopper to the limit. Binka trees never grew too near each other. Too competitive. Yep, we're playing a game, people, and now we're talking about trees. Binka trees never grew too near each other. Too competitive. So binka trees make great obstacle courses. I can imagine Grandpa Simpson reading this stuff. Then I spotted the assault vehicle, and with bumblebees everywhere, dropping the upper atmosphere. It was massive, the biggest thing I'd ever seen in the skies of Agamar. I kicked my speeder into overload and raced towards home. The Imperial craft seemed to parallel my course. It moved slowly, but steadily towards Tomanta. My stomach flip-flopped and my head pounded. What could be the meaning of this? This visitation? I was a loyal subject of the Empire. If any young man on a faraway planet at a distant arm of the galaxy could be said to be loyal, as opposed to completely indifferent. In fact, I never questioned the status quo, but accepted the fact that the Empire was the Empire. It didn't have anything to do with me or my daily life. Everything political happened in the hub, among the dense, populated systems of the galaxy. Here in the Rim, we were farmers, merchants, and craftspeople, who rarely, if ever, saw a government official or received a visit from Imperial forces. I remember once, when I was about 5 or 6, why are we going into this guy's whole life story? I'm really confused. A small flotilla of Imperial warships had come to our sector, and a few landing vehicles had flown over Agamar. I looked at them in awe and wonder, thinking I'm the most marvelous of sights. My friends and I chatted for weeks about becoming pilots for the Imperial Navy and flying off to strange and faraway worlds. So why was it that I viewed this assault vehicle with such dread? By the time I arrived, this huge ship was directly over to Manta. I soon speeded through the streets towards home. It was dark. The Imperial ship blotted out the sun. Dust kicked up behind me and spread in clouds and small whirlwinds, but the streets were virtually empty, and I hardly slowed down. I heard the sound of the Imperial commander's voice pronouncing the sentence of my home, then the distinctive and unmistakable crackling of heavy blasters, and a deafening concussion of the proton torpedoes as they impacted. The first torpedoes hit just as I reached the door of my home. Burst inside, I started yelling, "Father! Mother! Kintha!" What in God's name is Kintha? I have no idea. Then the roof fell in and a searing blast of bullet incinerated the kitchen. I was thrown to the floor, nearly blinded and coughing from the smoke and dust. I called through the rising flames, still calling for my family. Because that's a totally normal day in the neighborhood. Something heavy fell and I knew I was dead. Well, you would be reading this thing and we would actually have a much better story whereby you didn't tell us it. Okay, 3 months later, Tamantha was nearly deserted. The death toll had been too high, the destruction too thorough to rebuild. To my utter amazement, I had survived with minor wounds and little more than a mild concussion. But the wounds of the spirit were much deeper than those of the flesh. Both my parents were dead! My sister, Kitha, had been badly burned! I'd reluctantly shipped her off to her relatives on Untixis, where she'd be treated. I feared she would never recover. I stayed behind. I had no idea what I would do on Agamar, but I think even then I was considering the rebellion. I needed a new home, but more than that, I needed a focus for what was left of my life. And more than anything, I needed revenge. I'd already suffered my punishment. Now I'd commit the crime. I moved to Calendar Moon and lived doing odd jobs. I kept my ears open but didn't socialize much. For several months, I just listened to people speak. I had picked out places where one could hear the kind of talk I was listening for. Seditious talk of the Alliance and the Rebellion. When they learned my story, the denizens of those places accepted me without too much questions. But I was not ready to join them. The wounds were too recent. They respected my grief and left me alone. Over time, I became a member of the resistance on Agamar. I attempted secret meetings where people talked of such abstract concepts as freedom from tyranny, truth, and justice. It was all talk. After all, what could we, on Agamar, do to bring down the mighty empire? The rhetoric served to keep people interested, but I longed for action. One day my waiting and listening paid off. Hopefully my waiting and listening will eventually pay off as well. Someone very important was coming to Agamar in the wake of the Imperial attacks. I was determined to be there. Somehow, I knew that this was what I had been waiting for. The old warehouse was buzzing with low, nervous voices. Each of us had been assigned different arrival times, and small groups of resistance members had been entering the meeting place for an hour. I was in one of the middle groups that had arrived about 10 minutes earlier. There was good reason for the nervousness. This was a big gathering of resistance members, a perfect target for an Imperial surprise attack. Despite assurances from the Alliance raiders, the risks involved in attending this meeting were considerable. The background noise evaporated abruptly as a woman walked into the makeshift dais at the front of the room. I heard whispers of Mon Mothma and Chief of State, and realized this was the founder of the Alliance herself. Yeah. But what the amazing plot there. The whole room tensed in preparation for her first words. A few scattered whispers were the only sounds I could hear. Mon Mothma wasted no time. Her voice was forceful and filled the small warehouse with her plea. Beings of the galaxy, unite! Shield the yoke of imperial oppression! Even the whispers stopped, and the dead silence followed. The woman continued more softly, almost conversationally. Thank you for coming today. It's a pleasure to be once again on this beautiful planet of Agamar. First, I want you to know that this area has been surrounded by our forces. We have blockaded them, and now we're going to take your lives. It's heavily shielded, our battlecruiser orbits above us, and our picket droids have been deployed. In other words, there's no chance of Imperial surprise attack of you getting off planet. You are safe among us, for the moment. I imagine the great Star Cruiser floating silently somewhere above us, past the limits of atmosphere and confinement of gravity. I imagine starfighters, X-Wings, and Y-Wings, and a dance around the cruiser. Then I felt safe, and turned my focus to the woman's speech. The Imperial Star Destroyer appeared and killed us all. The end. Did you know that the Old Republic was a democratic union of worlds governed by the duly elected Senate? That represented the needs of all beings, regardless of species, race, or home sector. Did you know that the Emperor Palpatine was once a senator, and they seized power, stolen our freedoms, disbanded the Senate, and crushed all dissent? Did you know that the current empire is in the process of subjugating or destroying all non-human races? Did you know that there is hope? Take a moment with me now, my friends, and learn about the greatest peril our galaxy has ever faced. There is hope, but only if you know why you're fighting. Do you know who your friends are? Do you know your enemy? My enemy is Mon Mothma. She has blockaded our planet with a giant freaking ship and is now saying we're trapped here. The end of the Republic. How did it happen? Here's a short answer. Greed, corruption, deceit, oppression, tyranny. That is the story of the Empire. As she intoned this indictment, the Alliance's leader's voice resonated through the warehouse. Then she paused again, as if to let the image sink in. When she continued, her voice was controlled, quiet, penetrating. The voice of a storyteller, penetrating. Behind her, brutal images of imperial oppression occasionally appeared on a simple, flat screen projector. Brutal penetration. I was quickly transported back to another time, far, far away, but not so long ago. It wasn't always this way. We were at peace following the Clone Wars, guided by the Jedi Knights and the government of the Republic. War-weary citizens rebuilt their lives and restored their worlds. The central authority of the Republic encouraged propensity and freedom for all. But the galaxy is vast. With 1,000 worlds to govern, a few greedy senators found that they could abuse that power, at first in small ways, but then ever more boldly. Slowly, but steadily, corruption infested the Republic. More and more senators, seduced by power and wealth, allied themselves with special interests, and their corruption spread throughout the many worlds. The Republic was crumbling. Into this situation came a young senator named Palpatine. I remember him. Very ordinary, very methodical. Nothing to attract your attention, just enough to keep his position. Make no mistake, this Palpatine was a Rhodian, and he likes clothing. It was a diabolical master plan, and he carried out to perfection. Wait, oh, his was, okay. But Ewok? How do you know what an Ewok is? I thought Ewoks were unknown until Return of the Jedi. The authority of the Senate was weakening at an alarming pace. Crime was on the increase everywhere, while many worlds threatened secession. Others simply did as they wished while feigning loyalty. We needed a solution, and that is what Palpatine offered. Through a combination of political maneuvering, careful promises, and some out-and-out fraud, Palpatine got himself elected head of the Senatorial Council, President of the Republic. Many of the most honest and ethical senators backed him because he promised unity and never hoped would join with the most corrupt. You know, this is a very boring history lesson. At the same time, the worst members of the Senate expected a weak, controllable president, a figurehead to represent justice as they continued to serve the cause of self-interest. I was young, the youngest senator ever elected until then. Even so, I soon saw that as the man for the monster he was, but everyone was so anxious for a solution. Neither senatorial faction got what they expected. Instead, with the power of the presidency now secured, Palpatine suddenly emerged as a dynamic, increasingly ruthless leader, getting the government working again. Little by little, he assumed control, as the Senate consumed itself in bitter rivalries. Palpatine subtly encouraged this dissension, while seeming to support various sides. He played us against each other, using every means imaginable to increase his control. He gained the loyalty of some senators through favors, while they swayed with blackmail or coercion. I wept, while I could not get them to see the truth. Little by little, in ways so subtle that few realized what was happening, Palpatine took the reins of power from the Senate. When he was ready, he declared himself Emperor, announcing a new order. This story is getting so old, I've heard it like a million times. He filled the senators' heads with grand rhetoric, promising to lead the Republic to a glorious golden age like that of Daggerfall dynasty of old. It is Palpatine's new order that now stomps on your freedom with an iron boot. I realized how little I had known of this world. I could feel anger as I normally repress coming to the surface. I was full of disdain for the Empire, but even more for the corrupt government that allowed all this to happen. It was like rewriting history, reshaping all my concepts, dying a little, and being reborn. Some of us tried to defy him, but the result is what you see. I am a fugitive now. Palpatine has grown more powerful on the dark side. That's a story issue right there. Nobody knew Palpatine had the dark side connected with him. It was kind of assumed that he was, just the Emperor. Nobody knew that he had the Force. That was kind of not revealed until Return of the Jedi. Yeah. With the help of the fallen Jedi Knight, Darth Vader, because we didn't have Sith at this time, he dealt swiftly and decisively with his enemies. If I had not escaped, I would now be dead. Palpatine's power is spreading, and with it the darkness of his tyranny. This is how the old Republic died. This is how the Empire was born. Look with me for a moment at what I call the Empire's great lie. Emperor Palpatine has continued the pretense that he would end social injustice and corruption. On the surface, his policies may seem to be aimed at righting the wrongs imposed by the waning Republic. But his true goal has always been the subjugation of the thousand worlds and the enslavement of all galactic citizens. He rules by fear rather than consent. He states that all beings are equal citizens, while he carries out secret missions designed to destroy whole races. The Empire seems unbeatable. I hear that often. But witness what the Emperor's own Grand Moff Tarkin has to say. I have noticed that even the excellent pace with which Your Majesty has strengthened his fleets can scarcely provide security for the Empire should a significant number of planets begin to defy your will. We are many years away from a force vast enough to secure every system simultaneously. Rule through the fear of force, rather than force itself. If we use our strength wisely, we shall cow thousands of worlds, which might otherwise consider rebellion to some degree. The Empire is evil. It is guided by an evil creature on the dark side of the Force. Do not submit to his will! Resist now! They cannot subdue us all. They have admitted it! Only fear keeps them in power. If we act now, if we act together, we will cast off their oppression, dispel the darkness, and destroy the evil Empire once and for all. We all cheered, caught up in the power of Mon Mothma's words and ideas, which actually didn't really mean much of anything. I felt an eerie sensation, but for just a moment that I stood not among a few hundred Agamarians, but the center of a vast galactic community. For the first time since my family died, I did not feel alone. I could almost feel myself up there giving the speech. The emotions were so strong. Wait, why is he giving the speech? You think you're good at giving speeches? Well, you get out there and do one, buddy. You think you're that good at being brave enough to speak to the world? It was as if I had found a home. Even now, beings from all quadrants of the galaxy are rising up against injustice. They are bravely defying the Imperial Overlord together in for a life or death struggle. They need your help. The resistance is not alone. Before the Emperor disbanded the Senate once and for all, some of us took an active role against him. Chief against my allies was Senator Bail Organa of Alderaan. How much reading are we going to do? Though we seldom agreed on the Senate floor, we both understood the danger inherent in Palpatine's rise to power. I noticed that you completely forget to mention Senator Garm Bel-Elbas. Are you going to just totally ignore his role in all this? Yeah. We have planned secretly to overthrow him and to unite the united rising tide of resistance that had grown up in hundreds of systems and continues to spread. I bring you an offer of unity, of power, of total rebellion. Only by working together, by coordinating your efforts with those of other planets and systems, can you hope to defy the might of the Empire. I will never join you! I urge you to join the growing Rebel Alliance. Separate, we shall fail. Together, we shall prevail. More cheers, even louder this time. I don't really know if Bob Belter was actually saying much of anything, but it's a side point. And mine rose among them. Mon Mothma waited patiently until we had grown quiet again. When she continued, she was once again deliberate and calm. She had a way of starting slowly, taking us gradually to a crescendo, then waiting and starting again. I felt exhilarated. Even now, as Senator Palpatine outmaneuvered and defied the Senate to become president, Bail Organa and I plotted secretly, being repeatedly at Chatham House, Organa's house, in Imperial City. At first, Organa resisted my call for a general revolution, horrified at the thought of abandoning the government he had devoted his life to. Then came the massacre at Gorman, a small planet in the CERN sector, just outside the core worlds. Following Gorman, Bail Organa secretly helped me to divert weapons and funds, and even more importantly, information to the growing resistance effort. However, I was eventually discovered and fled the capital only moments before the Imperial Security Bureau came to arrest me. My goal has been to create an alliance of rebel planets, and my first success came in the Corellian system. Using guidelines and ideas discussed in the Chatham House meetings, I convinced 3 major resistance groups to join together. Wait. During the Chatham House, I convinced 3 major resistance groups to join together? Oh my god. Really? Well, this is cringeworthy, people. That is... Wow. Wow. Really, Mon Mothma, you are a complete jerk. I hate you even more now. I showed them how the increased communication, central leadership, and greater access to much-needed funds, supplies, and weaponry would benefit them all. I convinced them that there was strength in unity. The Corellian Treaty was the true beginning of the Alliance. Since the Corellian Treaty, I have traveled the galaxy from world to world, and everywhere I go, beings of conscience, independent thinkers, and victims of imperial atrocities have greeted me. They have joined the Alliance, as I hope you, good beings, will also. Yeah, I don't really want to join you. You're a jerk. You don't deserve to be followed. I have come to offer hope. To offer fellowship in a growing galactic movement. How do I abandon the rebellion in this game? I don't want to be part of the rebellion. Mon Mothma has proven herself to be a complete jerk with what she said here. Like, wow. This is literally spin on everything. If you know the Star Wars EU, this is literally spin on everything. My God. Wow. Wow. Just wow. I can't believe that she's actually said this stuff. You know, I mean, for someone who doesn't know the EU, it just sounds normal that she's saying stuff to rally people, but if you know the whole story behind the Star Wars EU, and all the stuff that's kind of going on in the role-playing game, and all the different books that have come out, yeah, there's kind of stuff that is kind of designed incorrectly. Like, blatantly incorrectly, as if to manipulate. She's literally being a manipulator here, people. Bante Hatcher, step forward then. I recognize him as the leader of the resistance on Agamar. What does the Alliance have to offer, he asked. Why should we join you? A buzz rose from the crowd, and nervous expectancy crackled in the air like electricity. Mon Mothma silenced them with a wave of her hand, and stepped to the edge of the podium. I thought she said join and you'd succeed, otherwise separate and you'll fail. Are you retarded, Bante Hatcher? Do you need a special lesson on this? Do you really need more text devoted to this? It's a fair question, and I'm glad you asked. Suppose Imperial warships were headed for your planet. You have perhaps a dozen obsolete hunter starfighters. Only 5 of them are battle-worthy. Moreover, you wouldn't even know the warships are on your way, because you have no communication with rebels on other worlds. You're a Sin Hoska. Oh wow, thanks a lot, Mon Mothma. You're now threatening us and saying join or die. Well, you're a really nice person. Now suppose you're linked to a sector-wide network of information. Surveillance droids watching the Imperial fleet and secret communiques from allied worlds warn you well in advance. Yeah, because that totally helped Alderaan. While neighboring systems send reinforcements in the form of men, weapons, and starfighters to defend your home. Now perhaps you begin to understand. The Alliance offers experienced leadership, coordination of information, and logistical support to every world that truly desires freedom. Yeah, not really. The Alliance kind of is completely garbage. You're a completely unorganized thing that just kind of got lucky. Yeah. Really, the more you see about the EU, the more you realize the Alliance is absolute scum. Really, they're just the opposite side of a whole coin, but that's aside the point. And don't worry about trading one empire for another. Oh, thanks a lot for, saying you're not going to become a dictator. I am the Alliance Chief of State and Supreme Commander of the Rebel Forces. But unlike the Emperor, my job is temporary. Yeah, so-called. Every 2 years, the Advisory Council votes again. At any time, the Advisory Council may remove the Chief of State. And, as soon as the Emperor is deposed, my position is no longer needed, and all the worlds will participate in forming a new republic. Let me read to you an excerpt from our formal Declaration of Rebellion. It's addressed directly to the Emperor. We, the Rebel Alliance, do therefore, in the name, by the authority of the free beings of the galaxy, solemnly publish and declare our intentions to fight and oppose you and your forces, by any and all means at our disposal, to refuse any imperial law contrary to the rights of free beings, to bring about your destruction and the destruction of the Galactic Empire, to make forever free all beings in the galaxy. To these ends, we pledge our property, our honor, and our lives. I have pledged my life to this cause. Will you not do the same? Oh, thanks a lot. You're threatening us to now commit suicide. Thanks a lot. With your help, the Alliance will continue its expansion. We will stop the Empire. We will be free. So you say. The speech was long over, and most of Agamar locals had left. They had begun some further discussion of Mon Mothma's proposal, and I thought the Agamar resistance was leaning toward joining the Alliance. My decision was all but made. As I stood listening to the talk around me, a pretty young woman approached, her smile dazzling, her eyes very serious, a studying contrast. She was one of the Alliance team who had accompanied Mon Mothma planetside. She handed me a small synth paper pamphlet, saying, "Read this. It'll help you understand more." Still smiling, she added, "Please be sure to return it to me or destroy it before you leave. To be caught with it means death." I took the small pamphlet and began to read. It's a call to reason in the spirit of the galactic peace and cooperation. If you care about freedom in your future, join the rebellion. Resist oppression. Help us form a new republic based on equity and freedom for all beings. This is your chance. Don't wait. The Empire grows stronger all the time. We have Han Solo on one of our pictures to prove it. Wait, why is Han Solo on here? Is this after A New Hope? I thought that's what he's for in A New Hope. I'm really confused about the plot, people. Yeah. And Tessic? Since when has Tessic been anything aligned with the Alliance? Do it now. In these pages you will read about our galaxy. Learn tolerance. Learn to understand what we fight for. Who are your friends? Who are your enemies? Learn as much as you can. Then join us. Mon Mothma was once a young and idealistic senator of the Republic. Hailing from Chaldrilla, she was practically born into government service. Her father was arbitrary general of the Republic, and her mother was governor of Chaldrilla. I think all this stuff was said in the Star Wars role-playing game, and it's been copy-pasted here. Next to Leia Organa, Mon Mothma was youngest member to serve on the Senate. I thought Leia Organa wasn't exactly published as a public thing, but that's beside the point. Despite her age, Mon Mothma rose to the esteemed position of Senator Mon Mothma rose to the esteemed position as senior senator before the abolition of the Senate. Yeah, I'm really confused about the plot of this, people. The abolition of the Senate was in A New Hope. Now she is chief of state of the Rebel Alliance and works tirelessly to overthrow the Emperor. Yeah, the plot of this doesn't make any sense whatsoever, people. I'm really confused. Viceroy Bail Organa of Alderaan was one of the heroes of the Clone Wars, fighting alongside the famous General Obi-Wan Kenobi. When the wars ended, however, Organa returned to the home planet to lead them into an age of peace and non-violence. Except for the giant freaking ship they had flying around endlessly. Weapons were banned on Alderaan. Soon after Palpatine declared himself Emperor, Bail Organa left the Senate and returned to Alderaan. He helped the Alliance, making Alderaan a center for dissent and resistance. Admiral Akbar was one of the first Mon Calamari to be taken as a slave for the Empire. I thought that was after A New Hope. A great Mon Calamari leader before his capture. Actually, no, that wouldn't be because the whole Death Star thing. He was instrumental in convincing the Mon Calamari to help the Alliance by providing ships. After his capture, he became the servant of Grand Moff Tarkin, where he was able to learn about his enemy firsthand. Though he learned of a great secret weapon, he was unable to discover what it was. In a dramatic encounter, Akbar was rescued when Tarkin's shuttle was attacked by rebel forces, and the Mon Calamari was left behind. Due to his great abilities and knowledge of the enemy, he was recently named Admiral of the Republic Rebel Fleet. General Kritz Mendine was an officer in the Imperial Army with high prospects for advancement. Fine, they actually included him here. You know, he wasn't really introduced until Heir of the Empire. Yeah, this is a character literally from Heir to the Empire, but he was kind of made out to be around during the whole rebellion. So, yeah, he's kind of been inserted here just because. Amid some considerable mystery, Mendine defected from the Empire and joined the Alliance. Such a defection would normally have been suspicion. Was he a double agent? But whatever the circumstances, Mendine was obviously trustworthy. Among those back in Mandine was General Recon, one of Mon Mothma's most trusted officers. Actually, no, I think Mandine was the one in Return of the Jedi. Never mind. Yeah, there was 2 of them that defected like that, so yeah. On his recommendation, Mandine was put in charge of the Rebel Army. Yep, that's him. His knowledge of Imperial strategy and tactics has proved invaluable in planning operations against them. As you see, reading the EU has made things very confusing. Obi-Wan Kenobi was one of the great leaders of the Clone Wars, a Jedi Knight. He dropped out of sight. It is feared that he, like all the other Jedi, has been killed by the Emperor's minion, Darth Vader, or one of his many assassins. Still, hope remains that he, or one like him, will re-emerge to join the fight against evil. So wait a minute. Obi-Wan Kenobi hasn't been found yet, but Mon Mothma, has, become Chief of State. I'm very confused, people. And yeah, there's a lot of things here, like the whole Palpatine's part of the dark side thing. Palpatine was once an uninspiring bureaucrat who, through deceit and political maneuvering, became first the President of the Republic and leader of the Emperor. Little is known about Palpatine. Many suspect that he has great powers in the dark side of the Force. But how he acquired power is completely unknown. He was never trained by any Jedi Knight that we know of. Yet much of his success is unexplainable if some larger force is not taken into account. Crimes of the Emperor, partial list. Emperor Palpatine has disbanded the Senate, stifling any participation by citizens in the government, begun a policy of racism and genocide against non-human races, removed the rightful leaders of planets and systems, placing his own lackeys as moffs and governors, arbitrarily raised taxes, murdered and imprisoned millions without trial or justice, stolen land and property from their rightful owners, created a military force whose sole purpose is tyranny. This is all paraphrased from the formal declaration of the rebellion. Okay, Darth Vader was once a pupil of Obi-Wan Kenobi, a promising Jedi Knight. Vader was seduced by the easy road to the dark side. He challenged his master and was left for dead when his challenge failed. Though severely disfigured, Vader survives. He is taken to wearing a startling outfit that helps him breathe, but also instills fear into all who see him. It is rumored that he has grown very strong in the dark side of the Force, and that he is the Emperor's main hatchet man. Next to the Emperor himself, Vader is the most feared being in the galaxy. Even his own men are feared of him, as he is wrapped as both violent and deadly. Grand Moff Tarkin began as a warship captain, but after the incident at Gorman, his rise was rapid. He is recently given credit for engineering the Emperor's policy of rule by fear, and also rumored to be leading a project for the construction of a new superweapon. Note that construction is said construction, with a hyphen in the middle for some reason. Jabba the Hutt is one of the kingpins of the galactic crime. Huge is the word often used for his empire crime, not to mention his own unbelievably corpulent self. Boba Fett is a notorious bounty hunter and assassin. A veteran of the Clone Wars, Boba Fett is feared throughout the galaxy. Nobody knows the source of his considerable power, but he carries a formidable arsenal of weapons. Few have ever met him, and all those, even fewer who are still alive. Boba Fett is known to work on occasion for Jabba the Hutt. It is also suspected that he performs missions for Darth Vader. So Alderaan was one of the planets that was practically desolated by the violence that swept through the galaxy during the Clone Wars. Its leader, Viceroy Bail Organa, returned from the wars to promote a peaceful transition to ownership in the Republic. Advocating non-violence and the abolition of weapons, he soon turned Alderaan into a model for restoration, peace, and freedom. Now Alderaan is a symbol for rebellion against the tyrannical Empire. Mantarine is a system located in the outer rim of the galaxy. Sharing our sector with the Fest system, Mantarine was the site of the massacre, as Mantarine's liberators took on an overwhelming Imperial force. It was their defeat that helped identify the need for the alliance proposed by Mon Mothma. All that was kind of detailed in the Star Wars role-playing game. Had the Liberators been allied with their neighbors in the Fest system, they would have known of the Imperial Strike Fleet orbiting nearby moons. Forward, they might have retreated into the impenetrable forest of Mantarine instead of taking up residence at captured Imperial base. The Corellian system was the site of the famous Corellian Treaty, which bound several rival forces in the rebellion into a united force. Under Mon Mothma's skilled leadership, this treaty has formed the basis for the growing rebel alliance. Gorman was the scene of an early massacre, point of the future empire. A peaceful demonstration against the rising taxes turned to tragedy and horror as the Republic warships sent to collect the taxes landed despite the protesters, killing or injuring hundreds. And the warship's commander? Was he punished? To the contrary, Captain Tarkin was promoted to Moff and later to Grand Moff. Calamari is the watery world of the Mon Calamari and the Quarren. This tectonically stable planet has few land masses, almost no mountains, and very little readily available metal. Despite that, Mon Calamari and the Quarren, working together, have created a peaceful, technologically advanced culture with a huge fluent cities and a thriving economy. The Calamarians have long viewed the stars as islands in the Galactic Sea. With a somewhat poetic view of space, it's no wonder that they have become great travelers. Many of you have been approached by members of Compner, the Commission for the Preservation of the New Order. Beware! Though it started out as a well-intentioned and idealistic social club, Compner is now another of the many propaganda organs of the Emperor. Though their message may sound reasonable on the surface, Compner is run by the Select Committee, who are vassals of the Emperor. What is the Emperor's purpose? From our analysis, Compner's main purpose is to spread the subtle philosophy of racism. Their goal is to turn human against Wookiee, Mon Calamari against Quarren, Celeste against Twi'lek. Don't let this happen. We are all equals in this galactic committee. Don't let the Emperor's doctrine of hatred and racism turn you against your fellow beings. The galaxy is vast, and there are many beings who belong among the citizens of the worlds. Some have traveled throughout the galaxy, while many others have stayed close to their homeworlds. Here are a few of those you may come to know. Gamorreans stand approximately 1.8 meters tall when fully grown and weigh about 100 kilos. Wait, do we really need to know about Gamorreans to join the rebellion? Like, is this really important to us? Their green-skinned body is squat, powerful, and their hands and feet are large for their overall body size. Their facial features are distinctly porcine, with large tusks dominating their mouths and horns atop their heads. Their eyes are small and their noses are more like snouts. The Gamorreans and Gamor are somewhat more intelligent than they look. However, their culture has evolved along a distinctly violent path. Only female Gamorreans actively do productive work. The males spend all their time engaged in fighting, trained to fight, and engaged in more fighting. Gamorrean males delight in conditions that will repel most beings, and have found their way into space as mercenaries. Some have become laborers, contrary to their cultural heritage. If the labor is particularly unpleasant, they may find it to their liking. If fighting or mistreatment of others is involved, Gamorreans are in pig heaven. Wait a minute, I thought you said not to have racism. Then you go on to say how Gamorreans are pig-headed freaks who delight in basically hurting other people. Thanks a lot! Great use of non-racism here, people! Yeah, let's talk about non-racism. Let's tell you how all these species are exactly the same pig-headed freaks who delight in hurting you. Yeah! Many Gamorreans are in the service of the Empire and have no idea how mistreated they are. Few are known to work in their service of the rebellion, particularly because they have no concept of the ideals involved, and partially because they tend to shoot first and not to ask any questions later. AKA, they're extremely stupid, don't trust them. But we are doing our best to win them to our side and teach them to respect their own freedom. Oh great, messing with their heritage. Ithorians are known as hammerheads by many galactic citizens. This name is derived from the shape of their heads, which are flat and ribbon-like, and feature 2 eyes at the top and 2 mouths on one side of their face. Wait, so did you just use slang to describe someone? You literally called someone a slur word. You literally are using racism in this galactic pamphlet saying to end racism. Do you realize how contradictory you are? What, like, is this a joke? My god, this is bad. Ithorians are natives to the lush planet Ithor in the Ortega system. They are peaceful creatures who hold the sanctity of life and beauty of nature above all else. Many young Ithorians aspire to become the ecological priests of Mother Jungle. The Ithorians' language uses their twin melts in a stereo effect that is impossible for most beings to duplicate without complex apparatus. Oh my god, this is going to take forever to read. However, some protocol droids can approximate Ithorian. The hammerheads themselves speak common basic quite well, however. The Ithorian way of life involves what they call herds, but which are really hovering cities. They have taken this concept into space, full of ingrained curiosity about life. Ithorian merchant herds are welcomed through the galaxy, particularly in the Outer Rim territories, where they often bring news and rare goods. They are not very offensive-minded, but carry strong defensive capabilities to protect them from pirates and other dangers of space. The Mon Calamari battle paddle... Wait, where was the Mon Calamari herd ships or whatever? I don't know what's going on. Mon Calamari are bipedal, salmon-covered beings with webbed heads and feet, high dome-shaped heads, large eyes with vestigial and external gills. With special lenses in their wide-set eyes, they have a 270-degree field of vision. Why in God's name have I already read 40 pages? The Mon Calamari are intelligent beings whose skills in spacecraft design are famous throughout the galaxy. Originating on the water world of Calamari, the Calamarians live on the shore but retain a love on the ocean. They have established a long history of peace and cooperation with their ocean-dwelling neighbors, the Quarren. Despite this peace, the Calamarians were drawn into the war and the Empire when Imperial ships invaded Calamari and began enslaving its population and looting their property. When the Calamari resisted, the Empire blasted 3 large floating cities, staining the oceans red with Calamarian blood. Now the Calamari are among the most steadfast friends of the Alliance, using their considerable skills to refit their space freighters into war cruisers for the Rebellion. Calamarian spacecraft are known for their individuality. Each is a work of art, handcrafted for much of their aesthetic considerations as for functionality. Like everything so lovingly produced, Calamarian craft are exceptionally durable and well constructed. Admiral Akbar is one of the Mount Calamari. Once a leader of his people, he was taken by the Empire and made a slave to the Grand Moff Tarkin. He was rescued by rebel forces when they intercepted a shuttle carrying Tarkin his way to inspect a military installation. The Quarren are most recognizable by their triangular-shaped heads, tentacle mouths, and small turquoise eyes most comfortable in low light. Their nickname Squid Heads is appropriate, though not particularly polite appellation. Quarren are bipedal with leathery skin that can change colors. This ability is only usually demonstrated during mating rituals. The Koran are the Mon Calamari's neighbors on the water planet Calamari. They have thus sustained a peaceful, if sometimes controversial, symbiosis with the Calamarians. Originally living deep in the oceans, the Korans mined the riches of the ocean bottom and provided them to the Calamarians. The Mon Cal have replicated by using the ingenuity to develop a technology that the two races share. The Koran now live deep in the floating cities built by the Mon Cal. Some among the Koran think they have gotten the short end of the deal, and there is an undercurrent of unrest among them. Nevertheless, the Koran have accompanied the Mon Calamarians into space and can be found living in the deeper recesses of the Calamarian ships. It was the Koran who originally betrayed Calamari by disabling the planet's defense systems, thereby allowing the Imperial warships to destroy 3 cities and one of the worst atrocities of the modern times. However, the end result has been to unite the Mon Calamarian Koran with the Rebel Alliance against the Empire. One somewhat notorious Koran is Tessek. Consumed with a lust for power, is one of Jabba the Hutt's chief lieutenants. Little is known of Tessek, but he is certainly a remarkable example of his species because of his obvious intelligence and his ruthlessness. Celestins stand about 1 and 1.5 meters tall. These humanoids feature large luminous eyes, large ears, mask-like facial features, and bald domed heads. Throughout their evolution, the Celestins have lived in tunnels and warrens beneath the surface of their volcanic world. I really feel like I'm just rereading a bunch of factual information I've read from the role-playing game, people. But yeah, their innate sense of vocation has taken them to the stars as pilots and navigators where their skills are in highly demand. Their high-pitched chattering language is hard for others to duplicate, and it's suspected that they have a rudimentary sense of echolocation, perhaps an evolutionary holdover. Despite their subterranean origins, most Celestins display a sunny disposition with a remarkable sense of humor. Many a starship bridge has been temporarily disrupted when the Celestin navigator tells the one about the Twi'lek and the Ithorian. "What do you mean that's not your pseudopod?" is one of the many punchlines. The main economy of Celeste, the Celestins' homeworld, is the huge mining enterprise of Sorsub Corporation. Though many Celestin citizens have joined the rebellion, Celeste is officially allied with the Empire. We suspect that a poll taken on Celeste would show a high degree of unrest. But for now, Celeste is controlled by the Emperor. Wow, nothing about the fact that the Sorsub Corporation, that's why the Celestins joined? Because they absolutely hated the oppression of this corporation? Okay then. Twi'leks are tall, thin, hairless humanoids with large, bony, suborbital projections. Twi'leks have 2 long, fleshy head tails. The most remarkable feature of a Twi'lek is the pair of twin tentacular appendages that extend from the backs of their head. Ugh. These large, fleshy, prehensile growths, called Chachin in the Twi'lek language, are a source of Twi'lek pride. They're integral to their society. Way too much reading for me, especially when trying to read vocally. Yeah, I'm feeling sick trying to read all this stuff. I think this is, after I finish reading this is the end of this part, people. The Twi'lek language uses the Chachin to expand and mean their words, making Twi'leki one of the most difficult languages for outworlders to attempt. Fortunately, Twi'leks are adept at languages and can learn most of their languages in common use. Twi'leks actually view each appendage separately. The one on the left is called Chachin, and the one on the right is called Chachin. Little is known the specific functions of each, but they are used as adornments and as mating rituals. The Twi'lek's homeworld is located in the Ryloth star system in the Outer Rim. Without an axial rotation, Ryloth is a world of extremes. One side bakes in the sun, while the other constantly in darkness. Great storms, called heat storms, rage across the planet regularly. Although these destructive storms are a danger to the Twi'leks, They also serve to regulate the overall temperature of the planet, warming the dark side and cooling the light side. Twi'leks are not warlike, but prefer subtlety and cunning to fighting. The native technology is somewhat crude by galactic standards, relying largely on wind generation for energy, and much of their development has been underground to escape the extremities of the surface. Little is known of the Twi'leks' homeworld, as few outsiders have visited there. Many Twi'leks have been taken to slavery by the Empire. Of particular value are Twi'leki dancing girls, whose movements of body into chin to chin are considered seductive by humans and several other species. Needless to say, few Twi'leks have reason to love the Empire, but many love to bounce in the head tails of the Twi'lek girls. Wookiees are tall, over 2 meters, fur-covered bipedal beings of high intelligence and a long lifespan. Their vaguely dog-like faces are highly expressive, with piercing blue eyes. However, when a Wookiee smiles, many beings are prone to run, as they display huge canine teeth and a fierce expression. Wookiees hail from Kashyyyk, a jungle forest famous for its giant multi-level rainforests. Wookiees live in arboreal cities where life is relatively safe. Lower in the canopy, life becomes increasingly dangerous, to the point that even Wookiees must watch their step at the lowest levels. Wookiee cities are remarkably complex, and the Wookiee's technological ability is well known. They handle all weapons with their natural skill and deadly effectiveness and are adept at repairs. The Wookiee weapon of choice, however, is the bowcaster, a combination of ancient craftsmanship and modern weapons technology. The bowcaster is a handmade crossbow-like device that fires a high-energy explosive projectile. Few beings can operate a bowcaster, as it takes the famed strength of a Wookiee to ready one. Wookiees are among the strongest beings in the known galaxy. When angered, Wookiees have been known to tear their enemies literally limb from limb, and Wookiees have quick tempers. On the other hand, Wookiees are intensely loyal and can form life bonds with others, even non-Wookiees. For instance, Wookiees often see their closest friends and colleagues as honor families, and their loyalty to an honor family is without equal. If you should find yourself in the unique position of having saved a Wookiee's life, you will find yourself with a Wookiee companion who would gladly sacrifice his or her life for you. Such a life bond will last until the Wookiee decides the debt has been repaid, and sometimes even beyond that. Wookiees, though immensely strong, cannot defeat a whole battalion of stormtroopers, and many Wookiees have been enslaved. One well-known Wookiee is known as Chewbacca. Having formed a life bond with notorious smuggler Han Solo, Chewbacca is now a wanted criminal as well. He is the co-pilot on Solo's equally infamous ship, the Millennium Falcon. Wait, why is the Rebellion taking interest in Han Solo to begin with? I don't really know. Okay, the Empire's campaign of prejudice and hate shows no favoritism. All are equally to be reviled, ridiculed, enslaved, and murdered. This is no less true of the many non-human races than it is the non-living. Many of us depend on droids, whether we know it or not. And yet the Imperial attitude towards these highly sensitive, intelligent, and yes, potentially sentient beings is to smash them, to exile them, and to use them without proper care. A droid is more than a machine. A repulsor lift is a machine. A tractor beam generator is a machine. A droid is an entity. Admittedly, some droids are more advanced than others, but they're all highly sophisticated. There is no reason to shun them, to mistreat them, or to fear them. Look at the many ways droids serve us. Astromech droids, such as the sturdy and versatile R2 units from the Industrial Automaton, help maintain and repair starships. They can plug directly into the central computer to help analyze problems and solve them. Astromechs also function as an outboard computer-operated pilot enhancement modules and many single-seat starfighters such as the X-Wing. they can be programmed for up to 10 hyperspace jumps. Like I said, it's sad, but all this is really old news if you've read the role-playing game. Some R2 units can be equipped with a veritable arsenal of tools and extra capabilities. Some have hollow recorder projectors built in. They may also carry such diverse systems as welding units, electroshock prods, saws and laser cutters, spotlights, and special grabbers. Astromechs are more than machines, however. They show a remarkable degree of personality and loyalty, especially when they are not subjected to regular memory wipes. Whether their personality traits are considered positive and negative is a matter of conjecture, but if treated respectively, Astromechs tend to develop a helpful personality. If mistreated, they may go rogue, to the regret of their owners. We're the first to admit that some protocol droids can be more than a little irritating, but their capabilities can be extensive. If properly programmed, they can speak and translate instantly up to 7 million languages. They can be fitted with a variety of added modules, but generally unsuited for tasks other than general protocol and communications. Even more than astromechs, protocol droids can develop extensive personalities when their memories are left intact for a long period. Some demonstrate startling insights and begin to offer very definite opinions not contained in their original programming. There are scientists who sincerely believe these droids are capable of full sentience and that regular mind wiping is a criminal act. Then, of course, we have those with a secondary nature behind them. But let's not go there. Many a patient has been thankful for the quick, efficient treatment he, she, or it has received from highly sophisticated medical droids. There are many kinds of medical droids, varying from the simple diagnostic models like the MD-0 to the MD-4 microsurgery models. Most medical droids have specialties, but the MD-5 is a general practitioner who can serve in places where specialists are not available. Another popular droid is GeneTex-21B, a highly versatile model, somewhat older than the MD series, but still found throughout the galaxy. Medical droids do not seem to develop many personality traits, though some may begin to display a sense of pride in their work, while others require periodic vaccinations to recharge their circuits and function at full efficiency. And yeah, they don't mention the fact that they don't really hesitate to they heal literally anyone. They'll heal like someone from the Empire if they kind of do it. They really don't have any prejudice to anyone. Some people have the mistaken impression that probe droids are among the least sophisticated droids. In fact, it would be a mistake to think that the more modern probots do not respond to proper treatment. A probe droid will always carry out its mission, whether it be surveillance, exploration, search, rescue, or early warning. But probots have a certain latitude. For instance, there is the example of probe droid D-17X, whose self-sacrifice and immediate response may have saved Mantarine from a terrible Imperial surprise attack. There is no proof that D-17X would have done any different if mistreated, but would you want to trust your star system to a resentful droid? Yeah, that one was also done in the role-playing game. Was described the whole self-sacrifice. Assassin droids are dangerous. Period. Even though they have been outlawed for several decades, these single-minded killer machines still exist. Many of them have lost their primary targets, but are still dangerous and unpredictable. Unlike other droids, assassin droids are incapable of developing positive personality traits. If you've seen one, notify the authorities and make tracks. Do not engage an assassin droid in conversation or trade with one. However, if the assassin droid does demand something at you, cooperate. Chances are it won't kill you. If it wanted to kill you, you'd already be dead. Only a fully trained Jedi Knight stands the chance against the assassin droid in single combat, and, depending on the model, the droid may still win as much as half the time. When I had finished reading the pamphlet, I turned it over and read the back cover. It said, "Are you ready to fight for your freedom, to lay down your life, if need be, to save your homeworld? Then find us. Fight with us. We will destroy the Empire, and you can help. Join us now." I studied the pamphlet a moment more, then looked at the woman who had given it to me. She was nearby, putting the chairs away and generally tying up the warehouse to hide evidence of the meaning. I caught her eye and reached out to return the pamphlet to her. "I want to be a starfighter pilot," I said. Her eyes sparkled. With amusement? Perhaps she saw me as some backwater rube with dreams of glory. I started to take offense at the idea, when I realized I fit the description perfectly. Oh well, so what? It didn't change things. "Where do I sign up?" I asked. "You're sure this is what you want? It might be a long time before you can return to Agmar if you leave with us." She still smiled, but her expression showed concern. "I'm sure," I told her, though I think my voice wavered a little. There's nothing to keep me here anyway. "Well then, my name is Linnea. I'll introduce you to someone." Signing up with the Alliance was pretty easy. They were looking for recruits. However, getting to enroll in the Starfighter training program was much more difficult. "Starfighter pilots are a rare breed," the recruiter, a Captain Beam, told me. "We don't take just anyone." "I know I can be a pilot," I told him. "I just know it." The captain still didn't look convinced. He wrote something with his light stylus on the screen of his viewer. "I can assign you to maintenance training, general logistical support, or perhaps even intelligence section." I knew what I wanted. "I'd do any of those things if it would help defeat the Empire," I said hotly. "But what I really want is to watch Imperial ships blow up in front of my gun sights. It's something I need to do." Captain Beam gave me a quizzical look. "Killer instinct," he muttered, then wrote some more with the light stylus. "Tell you what, Farlander, I'll make you a deal." "Yes, sir. Tell me what to do." "You promised to shoot down a TIE fighter for me, kid, and I'll put you in for starfighter training." "I'll do it, sir. I promise." He filled some sort of form on the viewer, and a moment later handed me a chip. "This will get you passage on your next shuttle to the flagship Independence. It contains your orders and your assignment. Good luck, Flight Cadet Farlander." I thanked him and took the chip, barely containing my excitement. I thanked him again, and I turned to leave. "And Farlander," the captain said, "one word of advice. Sir? Try not to get killed on your first mission. This isn't a game, you know. We're doomed, people." "Yes, sir. I'll do my best." Getting killed was the last thing I was thinking about at the moment. It was a thought that came to me often afterwards, but only when it was too late. So, yeah. Amazing. So that's Farlander's story, everyone. Star Wars. Star Wars, everybody. This is what Star Wars was about. I hope you've learned what Star Wars was about, because my god, have I been reading for like a freaking half an hour or so. Way too long. Way too freaking long, people. Yeah, needless to say, I need a break. I know I haven't actually really played the game at all. I just saw some cutscenes and complained a bunch. But, yeah, I'm really tired from reading. My god, I have to read a lot. I like, yeah. I really like... So, yeah, needless to say, Definitely interesting. So yeah. Actually, I think I need to read part 2. My mistake. Okay, so yeah, there's a short part 2 to read. My life ended on Agamar, and began again on the Imperial flagship Independence. I came up on a crowded shuttle as soon as Mon Mothma delivered the speech that had so inspired me. Mon Mothma had already gone up in a different shuttle, but there were several members in the ship's crew, as well as 3 of the recruits from Agamar. Linnea was there, sitting next to me. I suppose I looked nervous. "Don't worry," she said. "You'll be fine." I turned, and met her laugh in her eyes as steadily as I could. It was my first time off planet, my first time in a starship, and my first time making a big decision in my life without my family to advise me. "I'm not worried at all," I lied. "I just can't wait to get my hands on the controls of a starfighter." She laughed, clearly seeing through my bravado, then turned more serious. "There's no other task you could perform for the Alliance?" she asked. "Nothing other than flying one of those death traps." "Death trap? What kind of talk was that?" Feeling mocked and underestimated, I told her, "You wouldn't understand." My tone was surly. "Wouldn't I?" she bristled, her expression momentarily stricken. "If you're still around in a few weeks, come ask me about my brother." I felt like a real fool. What I thought was mockery was probably real concern. She obviously knew something more than I about starfighters and starfighter pilots. Still, I couldn't let her shake me. There was one, and only one, go before me. "I'm sorry," I told her. "I didn't mean to snap, but I know what I am here for." She looked at me with a half smile, and told me that I was forgiven, but she still harbored doubts. We sank into silence again. I had never seen anything like it. The Mon Calamari vessel was huge. Our tiny shuttle floated next to it like a blitz bug next to a bantha. The strange organic shapes of the hull appeared as elongated hemispheres when seen from this close. Here and there I saw long streaks of black. Battle scars, I guess. I nearly missed my first sight of an X-Wing. It flashed by my shuttle, and I caught a glimpse of it through the viewport. How can I describe that moment? For a boy whose ideas of power and speed had been embodied in a maxed-out land speeder, this was pure poetry. The X-Wing moved like a bird of prey. Its X-Wing foils glinted in the burning light of the sun, cleaving the emptiness of space silently and with deadly grace. Then it was gone, and I spent the rest of the shuttle ride searching for another. I saw no more X-Wings that day, but I had plenty to occupy my attention. The shuttle docked in a huge airlock near the rear of the Calamarian vessel. At least I assumed it was the rear. The Calamari design was unlike anything I had seen before, but I think I spotted the engine housings just before we entered the lock. As we disembarked, Linnea hesitated, then said, "Good luck. I'll look you up in a few days, just to see how you're doing." Before I could think of anything else to say, she was gone. We were in a shuttle bay, and there were dozens of shuttles of different sizes here. I looked hopefully for another glimpse of a starfighter, but there were none here. "New recruits from Agamar," boomed a basso voice. "Please report to me. Got Person! John Low! For Yonder!" I jumped at the sound of my name. Somehow, finally here, and it spoken to me in this strange place made the reality and finality of my decision solidify in my mind. This wasn't a dream. I was really here. The source of the voice turned out to be a short alien creature with large nocturnal eyes, gray-green skin, and a puzzled looking expression seemingly indigenous to its face. It was dressed in military uniform and blinked every few seconds. Once the creature had assured itself we were all present, it sailed briskly toward a far wall. I followed with the other new recruits as we trekked through the gigantic hangar. There were luminous arrows to the floor, and we seemed to be following them. A crosshatch of structural beams arched overhead, layer upon layer of the fine ribbon-like constructions that formed the outer shell of the Independence. I'd never seen anything built like this, and had no idea what even the building material was. Nothing was square or at right angles. It was a little disorienting. It looked incredibly strong, though. The luminous arrows led us to an iris that opened when we approached. On the other side was a long, well-lit hallway, wide enough to accommodate at least 5 people abreast. Iris doors lined the hallway, and unfamiliar devices studded the walls. But our guide continued without allowing us time to examine these Calamarian wonders. There was plenty of activity around us, and I guessed we were on one of the main routes through this part of the ship. There were many humans, of course, but I also spotted a wide variety of non-humans and droids, most of them unfamiliar to me. The hallway was anything but straight, curving right first to the right for a while, then back again to the left. I judged that we were in a serpentine route toward the center of the cruiser. After about 10 minutes of non-stop marching, we came upon a smaller hallway, a tributary to this main stream. After a minute or two, we were delivered into a small room, containing nothing but a table, 10 chairs, and a couple of plaques on one wall. Our guide said, "Wait here!" and left. "What do you think will happen now?" asked one of the others. He was a tall, thin young man with reddish hair and small slit-like eyes. He had fidgeted on the shuttle and was obviously having trouble staying calm. His name was Darth Posson, I think. I'd spoken to him once before on Agamar, but I hardly knew him. Wait. It's another of the Agamarians. Sonar Junlo was strong, committed member of the Resistance, solidly built, decisive and energetic. Junlo had been a leader on Agamar. She had said nothing during the long shuttle ride. Wow, that's a deep voice for a female. Now her comment was characteristically short and to the point. She sat at the table and motioned for Posson and Breth Gart, the other recruit, to sit as well. I had wandered over to examine the plaques on the far wall. One listed the crimes of the Emperor. It was the same list I had seen in the booklet, A Call to Reason. The other plaque was a laser paper version of the formal Declaration of the Republic. It read much like Mon Mothma's speech, and I wondered if she could have been its author. I was just finishing reading when I heard the hiss of a door opening. I turned in time to see an odd quartet of rebel officers enter in the room. 2 were human, the other 2 were like nothing I'd ever seen. One was a salmon-colored creature with a high, dome head and large eyes set to either side. I was to learn later that he was a Calamarian, a member of the race who had built this starship. The other officer was even stranger to my unaccustomed eyes. His face looked much like some aquatic creature from my home world. In fact, the image came to my mind of a creature with a squid for a head. Ironically, I was to learn later that these creatures, called Quarren, were often referred to as squid heads. Once I had come to know them, however, I found the appellation distasteful. The Quarren officer called my name in a sibilant voice. "For me, please," he said in a strongly accented basic. Hesitantly, I fell in behind him. We walked down another hallway, into an elevator of some sort. As we rolled down to the lower decks, I kept sneaking glances at this strange apparition beside me. Oh my god, there's a freaking ghost in the elevator! Ghost in the starship! This is gonna be a whole sequel adventure, people! Forget X-Wing! We're featuring a ghost in the starship! I can see the movie rights already, people. This is an awesome film. Finally, we emerged from the elevator into a dark, narrow hallway with a spooky ghost and an awesome ghost butt! And oh my god, was it big and erotic! And oh my god, I kept having to stare at it. The lighting was distinctly more dim than that of the upper decks, but my guide seemed right at home. I later learned that the Korans evolved deep in the seas of Mount Calamari, and that they preferred low light. The section of the ship I had been assigned to was a still unmodified Koran area. The Koran stopped before a doorway and gestured in a very human-like way. This is cabin 114, rate 9, your new home, flight correct, he said. He didn't respond immediately, but stood there, a little frozen by the implications of his statement, still fascinated with the alien looks, and I'm afraid, staring foolishly at him. I'm none! Yet, he half-asked, half-stated. Wretched with your face like to me. The sound he made was something like a drain pipe backing up. Hooray! I did something highly appropriate! I found myself hoping it was a speakeasy's version of a chuckle. If that was the case, I wanted to avoid being so amusing as to provoke a full-on belly laugh. I tried to apologize, hoping to salvage some dignity. He interrupted. The Koran reached down and suckered them, and proffered a standard hollow. I reached for it. The sucker released as my hand closed on the small disc. If you're pilot, you need to run the ropes. If you've got any questions, your liaison will be Lieutenant Hammer Blastwell. He's a human. The sound of a gurgling drain pipe echoed down the small hallway as the Koran turned and walked away. I stood a moment, chagrined and afraid I had made a bad first attempt impression, and then, with a sigh of resignation, I retreated into a small room that was to be my temporary home. It wasn't much. A small desk and a chair with an antiquated personal holodesk, a tiny hollow wall with a limited number of topics, a tiny privy, apparently set for human needs, with a few extra nozzles and buttons I didn't dare touch. A simple cot that came out of the wall at the touch of a button. That was all. I brought very little with me on this journey. All my possessions had been destroyed during the Imperial attack, so I carried only the few clothes and personal items. I had nothing much to do, and I didn't dare leave my cabin, fearing I'd get lost along the tunnels and meet the talking corn dude with his really hard to pronounce accent that makes me really dizzy to try and say stuff to. And always this huge ship. So I brought the holodisc on my desk and started my education as a starfighter pilot. Yeah. So basically now we have like a bunch of stuff or whatnot. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. There's a giant freaking book in the middle of this thing. It's a starfighter's introduction to the whole thing. Let's see here. The Rebel Alliance is an association of freedom fighters from many worlds throughout the galaxy. Our goal is to defeat the dark forces of the Empire and its leader, Emperor Palpatine. In a short run, the Young Alliance has pledged its military forces to the protection of its freedom and plans to have joined the struggle for freedom. Please end this! I just want to stop reading! It's also the aim of the military to seize equipment and resources needed in a long struggle ahead and to disrupt the smooth functioning of the imperial oppressors. Though the task is immense and the Emperor's power vast, every one of us, every soldier, officer, tactician, mechanic, pilot, and even our civilian liaisons have pledged their lives to this cause. Before you go any further, familiarize yourself with the chain of command. The Alliance military was created for flexibility and unity. Under the Alliance High Command, which consists of all the group commanders, there are two distinct divisions, the Alliance Forces and the Sector Forces. Alliance Forces are independent of all specific galactic sector, while the Sector Forces are responsible for keeping order and conducting operations locally. Both groups are under the direct control of the Alliance High Command. Oh my god. I just want to stop reading. I felt sick a while back. The civilian head of state is the Alliance is also the Supreme Commander-Chief at State of all military forces. Currently this title is held by Mon Mothma, who with former Senator Bill Organa crafted the structure of the Alliance. Mon Mothma exercises final authority over the Alliance war machine. Commander-in-Chief is Mon Mothma, the Fleet Commander is Admiral Akbar, Spec Force Commander is General Medine, Starfighter Commander is General Dodana. The Alliance military is divided into 7 main operational commands, such as Fleet Command. The Alliance Fleet represents the single most important division of the Allied forces. Under the command of Admiral Akbar himself, the Fleet Command directs and coordinates all fleet operations, maneuvers, and missions. While the other commands are considered equal in rank to the Fleet Commander, deference is paid to Admiral Akbar, both because of the extreme importance of the fleet to the Alliance's efforts, and because of the Admiral's demonstrated strategic skills. The Fleet Commander controls the operation of all capital ships and support vessels, ranging from assault craft to the massive Mon Calamari cruisers. Only starfighters are controlled under a separate command. I've read over 60 pages. My god. Briefly, there are 5 main categories of ships. Capital ships, such as the Mon Calamari MC-80 cruiser, are used in major campaigns as bases for training and maneuvers. Crew support vessels, such as the Nebula V frigate, are used to defend the capital ships and carry out smaller operations. Transport and supply ships, such as the Corellia Corvette, are primarily used for moving people and critical supplies, although they may see action in certain missions, especially where the target is small, or the Alliance needs every available ship. Starfighters are under the command of Starfighter Command. Wait, Starfighters are under the command of Starfighter Command. What? That's a sentence, people. Really? Their role is in escort and attack missions. Support vessels such as Boeing craft and other small specialized combat craft also serve specific purposes. Starfighter Command. Under Yan Dodana, Starfighter Command has general and specific responsibility for the deployment of starfighters, the training and deployment of starfighter pilots, and the operation of starfighters in special missions. Starfighter Command determines where specific squadrons will be assigned. For instance, some squadrons are assigned to the fleet, while others are placed in specific sectors, where they come under the control of local sector command operations. Some of the most prestigious divisions of the so-called rogue squadrons, who are not attached to a specific sector or fleet divisions, but moved as needed for special operations or back to other squadrons have gotten in trouble. I thought Rogue Squadron was created by Luke Skywalker after the whole thing. Yeah. The Starfighter fleet is divided into wings, squadrons, flights, and elements. A wing consists of 3 squadrons, a squadron consists of 3 flights of 4 starfighters, an element consists of 2 starfighters, a leader and a wingman. Oh god, we're going back to all this fun stuff. Yeah, I feel like I'm reading the Star Wars role-playing game again. Oh boy. As a new recruit, you start out as a wingman for the more experienced pilot. In time, if you distinguish yourself, you may be promoted to an element of or flight leader or beyond. The main goals of the Starfighter Command are to disrupt the function of the Empire, to secure needed information materials, and to deny the Empire uncontested control of space. To accomplish these goals, Starfighter squadrons are posted aboard frigates and cruisers, on outpost worlds and sectors, and special free-flying units capable of responding as needed. Although there are many specific strategies and tactics in use, they can be summarized in 3 words: attack, defense, and reconnaissance. Attack missions are usually lightning strikes of specific targets, using split-second timing and the all-important hyperspace abilities of the Alliance starfighters. Special missions often move in quickly and accomplish their objectives, and then hyperspace out again. Often, Starfighter Command is called upon to supply protective cover for larger missions involving the capital ships of Fleet Command. Therefore, there are very strong links between the 2 commands. Defense, the most absolute sense, is impossible. The Empire can always muster far more firepower than we can. We must pick our battles carefully. However, there are times when the Alliance forces must defend against Imperial attacks. In such cases, the best defense is a delay tactic, to allow as many Alliance personnel and equipment as possible to evacuate. Once the Empire discovers the Alliance base is lost, all that can be done is to salvage as much as possible before it's overrun. Reconnaissance missions are generally passive observation missions in which a starfighter may shadow an Imperial location, monitoring traffic, estimating strength, and relaying information to its base. If discovered, the pilot will do his best to escape. In no case should the pilot allow himself to be captured. Recon missions are not considered cakewalks, especially since I think recon people have like suicide pills. Yeah, not exactly something put in their pamphlets, but they have freaking suicide pills. Special Forces, or Spec Forces Command, controls the elite of the Alliance's ground forces. Under the guidance of General Mandine, these forces range from special assault troops, used in seizure and capture missions, to solo operatives engaged in assassination, carrier missions, and counterintelligence. Spec Forces is highly involved in the communications network of the High Command, and is often from General Mandine that the commanders first hear about Imperial plans. Sector Command is a local operation of the military and the individual part of the galaxy. The operation of ground and space units is under the control of an individual sector commanders, although there are times when one individual sector may borrow ships or troops from another, or from the fleet. Such requests are always routed through High Command, however, to keep Alliance operations consistent and coordinated. Fleet intelligence has 2 main duties. First, it must interpret information supplied from other High Command intelligence sources. Second, it must operate and monitor the deep picket line of droids. The picket line spreads over many thousands of kilometers and warns the Alliance of the approach of the unexpected ships. With adequate warning, the fleet can respond to any Imperial incursions, either by marching an attack or retreat as circumstances warrant. You know, this is a lot of reading. My God. You know, like I said, the hard part is the fact that I have to do it all vocally or whatnot. If I was just looking at it, I'd be able to actually like make it through normally and probably get through it very quickly because it's not too bad. But because I have to read it all vocally, yeah, it's getting very tiring on my vocal cords. Like, my God, I feel stretched to my limit here. Wow. Yeah. I think I might even be stopping early. Ordnance and Supply carries out the immense and challenging task of keeping the fleet and special forces supplied with food, arms, fuel, and other essentials. Sector operations are expected to be independent, so Ordnance and Supply concentrates its efforts on the Alliance forces. Some of Ordnance and Supply's modest budget also goes to research and development of better weapons and ships. Support Services controls the movement and operation of all Alliance's transports, including freighters and the specialized vessels such as medical ships and mobile repair docks. Naturally, there's a symbiotic relationship between Support Services and Ordnance and Supply. Yeah, all starfighter applicants must read the information contained and qualify as a starfighter pilot. Oh, goody. Oh, goody. Yeah. So, you want to be a starfighter pilot? True, the Alliance is in desperate need of qualified starfighter pilots. But we won't just take anyone. You have to prove you've got the right combination of reflexes, poise, and judgment to pilot the fastest, most deadly fighters ever developed. I don't have it. Before a pilot is allowed behind the controls of a starfighter, he or she must train. To earn your wings, you will be sent to a top-secret Rebel pilot training site. There you will demonstrate to our leadership that you are worthy of further training, and the expense will require you to bring your battle readiness. The pilot's training ground, also known as the maze, consists of a specialized obstacle course, in which your ability to maneuver and your aptitude of weapons will be assessed. Ooh. You'll be trained on X-Wings, Y-Wings, and A-Wings, as one can never tell what craft will be assigned to you in the heat of battle. I thought usually they choose one and kind of stick with it. It sounds kind of stupid that you change your ship constantly. Like, when would you be trained on a certain ship, you know? That sounds a bit stupid. I'm sorry, but there's a bit of stupidity in it. I'm sorry, but you would think... You would think, yo! There would be something. Yeah. But I don't know. And it seems like it's going to get very, very tiring. Your score will be based on shooting accuracy, your maneuver skills, and the time it takes you to complete the course. As you progress through this course, new obstacles and challenges will present themselves. Although it will seem quite authentic to you, you'll be in no real danger. Therefore, it will be to your advantage to push yourself as hard as you can. Be the best starship pilot you can. If you stand up to the challenges, you'll be honored with the opportunity to defend the free beings of the galaxy from the evil of the Empire. You can return to the proving ground at any time to increase your skills. If you perform especially well, you'll be listed on the pilot's honor roll. Yeah. 66 pages. I'm very tired, people, of all this. It's been a long day, you know, trying to do all this. I'm just going to stop here, and we'll continue reading, I guess, next time. Because I'm not exactly sure how much more reading I have to do. Like, does it ever end? You know, I thought at some point it would eventually end. You know, and I would get, you know, the ability to rest. But, you know, so far I haven't been able to rest or anything. It seems like just more and more reading. You know, and I'm not really sure, like, part of the thing I'm scared about is I'm going to start hitting, like, the missions or something like that, and I shouldn't be reading as far as I am. I don't even know how far I'm supposed to be reading in this thing. Yeah. I really don't know what I'm doing, people. So, yeah. Could someone please tell me what I'm doing? Like, am I supposed to be reading all this? Is reading this one, you know, well, it's not important to read, but, you know, is it bad to read this stuff right now? Should I be stopping at a certain point? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, people. So, if you guys have any advice at all, please give it to me. I think this is a good time to stop because my throat's getting really raspy. And so I don't really want to push it anymore. I don't know why it's getting so tired. It's only been 2 hours, but then again, it's been 2 freaking hours of this. So yeah, I'm worn out. Anyway, with all that in mind, I hope you enjoyed all this pointless reading, people. Thank you all for watching. I'm bored out of my mind, and I shall see you all next time.